Okay.
Today we're live at the Grapevine. This is the eclectic kosher wine review. We're here live with Victor Schoenfeld of Yarden, Golan Heights, Sion, Gamla in that part of the world, Golan in this part of the world, and there are a plethora of wines that are produced in that winery in Kosher, and this man has been doing an amazing job of helping people realize the potential of the earth in Eretz Yisrael and how grapes grow there and barrel combinations. And here we have just a small flavoring of what you've been releasing for us with your creativity. So please come share with us why French oak for 18 months a little bit. Why the soils in some of the regions that are on this map are producing what they're producing, and why you love making wine.
Those are big questions.
You can angle them in a small way.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let me start by saying, first of all, thank you for inviting me to hello to everybody. You know, the winery has been evolving, and as you know, and first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for buying our wines and supporting our wines and what we're doing. But for us, the most exciting thing that about what's going on is what's to come. Because we've always done, but we're doing a lot of development work, and we've been involved in a lot of projects, and a lot of those projects are really coming to fruition now. And I could go on and on, but there's a lot of things. For instance, our own propagation block. So we're growing the vines that we're planting, and we're selling to other wineries vines that we're planting. We're the licensees of Entave, a French company which is the leading propagator of high-quality vines in the world. So just since 2009, Israel has been able to compete on the quality of the vines that we're just planting now. But the key, that's just one project of many, but that's really important. But the key to the success of the winery is the Golan Heights. So what we're trying to do, as in many high-quality areas, is making wines that reflect our specific spot on earth. So, you know, we make great apples in the Golan, but does the world really need Golan's apples? You can get the same varieties from Washington, probably cheaper. I'm not saying anything bad about Golan apples, they're great, but wines from the Golan Heights can't be made anywhere else. So we can't really compete long-term, I don't think, in apples, but the Golan and the Galilee can compete long-term with wine. And the wines coming out of the Golan Heights, we're seeing develop, you know, we talk about terroir, which is all the physical things that affect the quality, affect the personality of wine. And we're seeing a personality develop coming out that is specific to the Golan Heights. And, you know, it makes, on one hand, people think, look at Israel and look at the Golan, and they think, well, we're too far south. If you look about where wine is produced in Europe, we're further south than that. But we get over that by going up in elevation for cooler temperatures. And we know that, you know, the Eastern Mediterranean is the birthplace of wine. So the oldest remnants of wine have been found in what's now Iran, 7,000 years old. We think the oldest wine press in Israel dates back to 6,500 years. So we're at the very beginning of wine production in the world. So it makes sense that high quality wine would be able to be produced in Israel. Now when I got there 23 years ago, the winery had produced already some very good wines. So I knew there was some potential there coming into the job. But a common theme since then has been that we're constantly surprised about how much potential there really is. So we've brought experts in from around the world on all sorts of different subjects. And in fact, a few years ago, we brought in one of the leading viticultural wine growing experts. And he came over for a one-time visit with no commitment for further visits, just to check it out. And since then, we've been working with him because he finds it fascinating. But at the end of that first visit, I was a little nervous, and I asked him, well, this is Dr. Phil Fries. I said, Phil, you know, we think that we can grow high-quality wine here, but are we kidding ourselves? Do you see some quality limiting factor here that we don't see with all your experience around the world? And he said, frankly, no. He doesn't see any reason why we can't produce wines on par with other high quality wine areas in the world. And so we've been doing a lot of work before and since to improve the quality of what we're doing. So just another example, since 2009, in 2009, we completely changed the way we plant vineyards and raise young vineyards. I mean, it's really a drastic, revolutionary change. And we're doing that to achieve ever higher quality. So those vineyards that we planted in 2009 with this new plant material and this new strategy, those have just been starting to be harvested in 2012. So what we're trying to build into the way we do things is built into the day-to-day work a way to learn and to make better decisions. So if we have meteorological stations to study the climate, we've done soil surveys in the Golan Heights to come up with our own soil classification. So for every vineyard block, we know exactly what kind of volcanic soil it has. So if we know the climate and we know the variety and we know the clone of the variety and the rootstock, and we see, okay, this combination in this climate did wonderfully. So the more we understand, every year that we plant vineyards, we make better decisions. The vineyards are going to be better and better every year. And so we're looking at, our goal is for constant improvement. And we have achieved, I think, pretty much constant improvement over the years. But I think even in the coming years, we'll see even a really significant jump in quality. So I came 23 years ago. I figured I'll stick around as long as it's fun and interesting. It's more fun and more interesting than it's ever been. And I really believe that the potential quality for our area is much higher than I originally thought, than I thought 5 years ago, than I thought 10 years ago, than I thought 20 years ago. So it's really an exciting job. I couldn't ask for a better thing to do. And my contract with you is that we'll continue working and improving the quality of our wines. So we have you guys in mind, and we have the Israeli market in mind, and we have the general wine world in mind. Because if we think about the Israeli wine industry, there is no justification to produce bad quality wine in Israel. Bad quality, low cost wines come from countries that have low costs. And Israel does not have low costs, not labor, not energy. We don't have big tracts of land to enjoy, the return of large, I'm losing my English. My Hebrew's not bad.
There you go.
And so for long-term vitality, we have to concentrate on the high